Hello and welcome to Quarterlight, your car brochure channel. Today we'll be looking at the Citroen Dyane. Welcome back. And if you don't know, Quarterlight is based around car brochures, so if that's your thing, don't forget to subscribe. Back to today's episode, the Citroen Dyane. First introduced in 1967, it ran all the way till 1983. As you've guessed, it was based on a 2CV, although its design meant it was always intended to be a hatchback and it had those integrated headlamps. In fact, all the body panels weren't actually surprisingly interchangeable with the 2CV, they were completely new. So initially launched as what was called the Dyane 4, which was a car that came with 425 cc's. The next year, 1968, launched the Dyane 6 with its 602cc engine. They even managed to increase the size of the Dyane 4 to 435 cc's. So the car, although it wasn't ever officially said, I kind of feel it was there to replace the 2CV, although as we know, the 2CV did eventually outlast the Dyane and pretty much outsold the Dyane on, I think, every year, but apart from I think 68 and 69, if my memory served it right, the Dyane outsold the 2CV, but all the other years the 2CV was a far better seller. It was there really to compete against the Renault 4. The Renault 4 had been stealing some 2CV sales. They thought this was the solution. Today's brochure is from September 1973 for the UK market, and it does show both the Dyane 4 and the Dyane 6. So let's have a look at this now. So the brochure itself is quite a plain little brochure really, isn't it? Citroens are among some of my favourite cars. The brochures are also some of my favourite because some of them are really very artsy and very fancy indeed and very stylish. This particular brochure is quite plain in comparison to some of the Citroen brochures. Initially just showing the front end of a Dyane, and of course there was a main difference for anyone spotting one was these integrated headlamps rather than little round or in some cases rectangular headlamps on the 2CV that just popped over them. But the same idea with this kind of rollback sunroof. Like I said, I won't refer to the Dyane as a luxury 2CV, but in general it was pretty much better than the 2CV in every regard. Which I guess begs the question, why didn't it replace the 2CV? But anyway, let's open the brochure up and see what's inside. So initially it's showing, or it's saying Dyane, a different way of motoring, simple, logical, economical. Talking about the engines that are air-cooled, like I said, the Dyane 4 is in here with that 435cc engine, the Dyane 6 with 602 cc's, and we'll have a look at some of them specs at the end of this particular video. Saying designed for comfort, and of course, like the 2CV, it was an extremely comfortable car with quite a unique and clever but very basic suspension system. It's also saying here how easy it is to drive. If you notice, and I think all the pictures are actually of the Dyane 6, you can see it's a slightly more luxurious looking steering wheel, but with that very characteristic one spoke steering wheel. The same sort of idea with the column change, with, you know, it looks a bit wacky, but actually it's quite a nice gear change once you get used to it. If you notice, I struggle to say dashboard, but I guess that's what it is. The dashboard is a little bit more than a 2CV. It's got this proper sort of speedo on there, if you will, where the 2CV was a very tiny little metal type thing. If we open the brochure up still further, it does show a very nice picture of a Dyane from the side. struggling a little bit to get all of that in there. But again, this is going to be the Dyane 6. The more luxurious one's got this little chrome centre cap on there. But you can certainly see the 2CV genetics in this car for sure, although we've got some sliding windows. I guess that was a little bit more upmarket to have sliding windows and this extra window, and then, like I say, always designed to be a hatchback, so in some ways a little bit more practical than the 2CV. And it says here, drive safely, stop safely, and the no problem car. So like I said, this is a very basic car and a very basic brochure overall. We'll just have a quick look to see what it's saying here at the top. And like I say, it's very basic, so it doesn't really have to tell you too much about the car. It's saying drive safely, stop safely. It's talking about the wheels are a big 15-inch size with Michelin radial tyres as standard for long life. Brakes are powerful hydraulic drums, inboard mounted and extra large at the front to pull you up safely and surely. Then it goes on to talk about the no problem car. Dyane has many virtues you appreciate. No complications, no problems, no unnecessary expense, just simplicity and economy all the way. As your prime mover or second car, Dyane will do all that you ask of it. You'll find, as so many before you, that no car in the world is a more loyal or undemanding. And then that's really all this particular brochure's got in it, apart from if you fold it back again, it does give you this image of this large hatchback. You can see they're more practical than a 2CV was ever designed to be. And the caption on the side of it, an estate car. Design, and it says Dyane is an estate car, a small. So it says, so it's almost like it's being so practical. It's like a small estate car. Remember, these are the early days of hatchbacks. Hatchbacks was almost, I know there's been hatchbacks before this date, but hatchbacks are still a little bit unique. Later on, of course, everyone wanted a hatchback, but this time it's quite unique, but certainly a clever design to make it a more practical vehicle. It goes on to say the Citroen Dyane is the most obliging of cars. If you want an estate car, Dyane will become one. To start with, you have a big fifth door at the back. This normally gives access to the boot, which itself has a generous 9 cubic feet capacity. If you have a Dyane 6, you can specify the separate front seats, the folding rear seats and the special rear door as an optional extra. Fold down and you've got all the rear of the car as a big capacity space for cumbersome loads. Finally, on the back page is the technical data. Started talking about the Dyane 6. Like I said, 602cc flat twin 4-stroke air-cooled engine. It's showing here 32 brake horsepower. Transmission is front-wheel drive, 4 forward gears, all synchromesh. That's surprising, isn't it? An all synchromesh gearbox, because even the 2CV at the end of production, I'm sure the first gear wasn't synchromesh. Mine certainly in 1982 didn't have a synchromesh on first gear. And it's also talking about the wheels, like we say, then 15-inch wheels, and then it looks at the Dyane 4. That's a 435cc flat twin 4-stroke air-cooled, showing 26 brake horsepower there. And it's showing on there, it's got all the specifications of the Dyane 6, except no door pockets. And like I say, the little chrome wheel trims, it didn't include either. This particular brochure has got a nice little dealer stamp, Smith and Carpenter Limited, Bedford Road, Kempston, Bedford. And like I say, a little date code there of September 1973. So in 1969 you had to pay about 648 UK pounds to get a Dyane 6. Now that was pretty much the same price as a Mini 1000 Super. Other competitors, things like the Hillman Imp, Reliant Rebel, and of course the more direct competition of a Renault 4. Now the good and bad points about a Dyane, well, it was quite economical if you didn't push it too hard, extremely comfortable, good road holding surprisingly, and very accommodating size compared to the competition. The things it was a little bit behind the competitors with though was that very slow acceleration and of course that relatively low top speed. I think one of the surprising things is that it didn't actually outsell the 2CV ultimately. Really, the Dyane was better in every regard to a 2CV if you looked at it on a logical note comparing the two, but I think ultimately the 2CV just had a little bit more character, and that very cute face certainly would have sold a lot of cars. Thank you so much for watching Course Like today. There'll be many more car brochure channels to come, so please do like and subscribe, and we'll see you very soon. Take care and goodbye.